Thank you for the warm welcoming. And yes, my Finnish is very limited. It boils down to moi, and if you run out in the woods, I can shout for hoipu hirvi. That's about it. I think it means something, a great elk or whatever. But I'm not talking about, will not talk about my knowledge about the Finnish language at all. I will try to stay on English. Well, we are here to talk about data-driven marketing. And first I would like to actually start by talking about me. And the reason for that is actually, many of you are retailers, even a few bankers in here, etc. Everyone is talking about big data. And especially in Finland, actually, that has blown up a bit here over the last 6 months around how data is handled. But who actually talks about me and my data and how I can use that in the best interest of me? And that is actually the starting point for Wrapp. So I will start by actually showing what we do. So this is live. Yeah, sadly I always have to show my girlfriend when I do this. So, and on my kids as well. But with Wrapp, oh, sorry, I'm clicking around here. Every time I use one of my cards that I have connected to Wrapp, and I will show you the number of banks that you can do that with, but I have 3 different cards, I will instantly, at the point of sale, when I do shopping in a restaurant, in a cab, whatever, get a push notification saying, thank you for your purchase. You have just linked something, get a cash back or whatever. So, for instance, I went to Espresso House yesterday and bought a coffee, and I collected one more stamp. I hope you can see this in my punch card that is automatically registered to all my cards, whatever card I'm using. Or I went actually for lunch at one of our clients, Taco Bar in Sweden, and I received a stamp card there as well. But also, they had a campaign going on. I received 25 kronor as a cashback. Will come into my account at that specific card I'm using. All these transactions, and there is quite a lot, and a few in Finland and in other countries as well, builds my profile. And now we go into what we're using the data for. So this is me. Over the last 30 days, I've received roughly 50 euros back, and actually more than 1,200 euros the last 12 months, and from many different merchants. And as you can see here, this is my profile. I'm really top-notch in entertainment, in travel. Yeah, as you imagine, I travel a lot, especially to Finland right now. So I'm gold. That means I'm top 20% of all our users within that category. And a few, like sports and hobby, I should probably train more, but I'm still top 50% of all the users. And in home and garden, bottom 50%. And sadly for my kids, I'm at the bottom here, the bottom 20% of all users. So if I step in here, like in groceries, for instance, I've been quite a lot of times purchasing in grocery stores, in 7-Elevens and others, and that is built up by a lot of brands. And for instance, I've been at City Gross 6 times, received 400 kronor back. Most people don't dig down in this profiling part of it, but that's the foundation of the system, the foundation of actually bringing value to me as a consumer. So for the end user, they mostly look at this. And this is my dashboard. So as you can see here, I will have one new offer that I need to link on, Noodle Marma, yeah. And others are already linked. Or I can see what's nearby. Probably a few things. Yes, Espresso House is nearby, 295 meters. There is a few Finnish merchants targeting me as well. And I can go in and see what's going out in a few days. Yeah, I need to go back to my Thai walk house. It's nearby me. Claes Olsson wants me back. Åhléns wants me back, etc. All these campaigns or rewards or punch cards are automatically linked to all my cards at every time. The only thing I need to do when I go into a restaurant is use my card, and everything will happen back to me. I don't need to leave or tell anyone my name or number or anything, I will automatically get it. That said, let's go back to what's, oh, that's something came up there. So, back to the presentation. What are we all about? Yes, that's me. We have a lot of investors, both from VC and especially now also from banks. So we have more than 5 banks that have invested in the company, and they are actually part of bringing this infrastructure to retail. So retail is the end game for this, to actually participate and use it. We talk to a lot of other banks. Some of them you know here, and some are perhaps not known to you. But we are in contact with 25 different banks. Right now, we are powered up by 6 banks. And the ones that are interesting for Finland is, of course, Nordea. That was the first bank that stepped in. And Aktia, coming in now, live in a few weeks, actually. And also Danske Bank is going live in Sweden tomorrow. And others. And once again, the infrastructure is provided for you to build stuff on top of it. Today, we empower roughly 200 brands. We have more than 140,000 people have signed into the service today. And we will, with these 6 actors, reach approximately 40% of all the users in Sweden and in Finland. That's still not 100%, but it's quite a lot of people. So, what's in it for you? Is we actually ask ourselves, isn't this the sort of simplicity of it? Would you like to increase your market share or not? If you have a good restaurant, a great store, you want more people to get in, and you want to actually gain some leverage versus your competitors, locally or nationally. So let me show you one thing first. It's a lot of data right now. It's going to get even more. This is something we just launched in Sweden. Oh. Can you see this on the screen? We call it a Wrapp index. It's actually all our users combined, what they shop. And this is the Swedish wallet right now. Roughly 20 million transactions over the last 6 months. And you can real-time see what have people bought. So not surprising, not very surprising, is of course ICA at the very top. You can look into the Swedish behavior when it comes to alcohol. I think we have a similar behavior here in Finland. It tops up quite a bit here in market shares. They went from 2.5% in the wallet up to 5%. And every retailer now can step in to their specific area. Let's take something that you have here as well, like technology. This is Elgiganten, and how they outperform everyone else during Black Friday and Christmas. And if you are the, I hope MediaMarkt is not here. Are they actually live here? No, they are actually very poor here compared to Elgiganten. But it's amazing that you as a retailer now, on a daily basis, can get your industry index right away. And because it's so many people using it, it's actually really okay data. And we base this on all the transactions. Just to give you a sample, I will use Systembolaget once again. And of course, we have data on every retailer in the room as well, with Alko here in Finland as well. But let's stay on to something like Systembolaget. So they have an average receipt of 281 krona. I'm pretty sure that is 100% accurate what they actually have. 105 million in sales. The gender, the distribution of gender, you can see female, male, how they spend. Actually, a few people have been below 20 going in here. They're not allowed to do that, actually. So they are full the system, not our system, they're full Systembolaget. You can see frequency, you can see when they are purchasing during the week. And as you can see, people tend to buy alcohol on Fridays and rather late in the evening, around 1600. And this is interesting. Now we get to data that they don't have. This is the wallet for all the people going at Systembolaget, what they spend their money out elsewhere. And this is the number of transactions, the foot traffic they have elsewhere. And when you're a retailer in the system, you'll get all this, but a lot more. So you can benchmark yourself versus your industry more in detail. And of course, if Systembolaget wants to know exactly how they perform on each store, this is the average receipt on every store in Systembolaget. Okay, you get it. But there's more to this. So, data, as we have a lot of data, as you assume. What people are buying, where they are doing it, when they're doing it, and of course, we try to figure that out in detail as well. And we divide people, as you saw, in gold, silver, bronze, and newbie. It doesn't really matter what the system performance is. You can see the top 20% spends around 25,000 kronor a month and using their cards 66 times. But that is of less value for you. It's more interesting to go down and look at the individual profiles. This is me again. And how is my pattern? What am I using or purchasing? And then you are a retailer. If I'm interesting for you, I'm high in groceries and you are in groceries, I have perhaps never been in your store. I have a high potential because I haven't been in there. Or I actually have a fairly high share of wallet in your store, then you treat me differently. And we create automatic tools or campaigns for this to use the potential of me within each segment to drive me back again. And there is basically two things, and this you already know. You can increase your sales by either drive new users or the ones getting into your store, let them come a little more often, or sell them a little bit more every time they're in there. So I'm going to show you an example. We have one retailer that have more than 100 stores in Sweden. Over the period from the summer until Christmas, we grow their market share relatively with 29%. How? Yes, with these campaigns, it was quite a lot of different campaigns. We focused on driving new customers and increase frequency and average receipt. Very basic stuff, but most of the campaigns are automated. And the result was 20% new customers, increasing frequency, and a growth of the average receipt. Well, that's super nice, but the interesting part comes now. Who did come in? And within that segment, they had a 20% share of the gold customers within this category. And they actually were having higher numbers on the very low end on this, 33%. But after this, they have grown in all categories, but most in the ones with the highest potential. And that's super interesting. So when you trust the data, you can attract the right people to come to you more often. And this is super interesting. So in the high end of the spectrum, 36% in growth. In the low end, 10%. And that's why the money was funneled correctly into the system. Still, we have a lot to do to perform even better. And of course, the earlier you get into the platform, the faster you can gain the numbers in the beginning. The longer you wait, the more crowded it will get. So, probably I have just a few more minutes on this. What's in it for you? First of all, I want to underline this. Because everyone using your cards in your stores, in your restaurants, in your taxi, whatever, you should always treat them when they actually purchase. Because that's the super benefit that we provide. Use your card. You have just bought a great lunch here at this. This is a restaurant, isn't it? Yeah. And say, thank you for that purchase. Please come back. And have that little token or treat for me to be remembering this restaurant. That's the trick. If that is a punch card, if it's a little cashback for me to come, or a gift card for me to come back, or a free taxi going from here, that's another thing. But use that. The second part is, and we don't know this in Finland yet, but in Sweden we actually do know what it takes to grow your market shares. So we have the numbers. We can do the math on this already and know how fast you want to grow. It's more or less a money play on it. And how does it work then I have to do some sales as well. Sorry about that. How does it work? If you now run a newspaper ad, you pay 5,000 euro for that, you will not really know your outcome. You can know the eyeballs, or you can measure stuff around it, but you can't really measure sales. It's really hard. With us, the same cost, roughly 10% goes actually to the platform. The rest is money going back to your consumers. That is taken out of your sales budget. This is a marketing spend. This is sales in the end. And that makes it a little complicated to kick it off. In average today, we have a ROI on every campaign around 9. So that's pretty amazing. So, Finland, yes, we haven't launched. We are live with Nordea. So you can, if you have a Nordea card, or you can step in and you can download Wrapp, and you will automatically get all your cards linked. Just do that. Use the code matrix. You will see that, because then I get 10 euros, and you get 10 euros to your next restaurant purchase. We will launch around the end of Q1, really launch and start marketing this. And we are waiting in, so we have the other bank on board before we do the launch. And of course, we want to have a lot of relationship up and running with retailers. And the best part for all of you, it's performance-based only. You don't only pay when it actually performs. And the other part is that it's no integration. You don't have to do anything at all. You don't have to teach your staff. You don't have to integrate. You don't have to do anything technically. It's very, very simple. Just plug and play. So I will just sum it up. So if you have Nordea, please download Wrapp and use my code. This is my personal code. You will get your own then later. And you will get 10 euros off the next restaurant purchase you do. Am I on time or what?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay? Yeah. Super. That was all. Any questions?
Excellent. So the beautiful microphone here. Let's have the applause first. That's a good idea.
Oh, thank you.
So our microphone is here. So questions. Audience,
Before anybody is asking, I will ask one question.
Jari wants the mic.
Always, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great to be here.
If I remember correctly, like any successful service ever made has one single feature, function, or design principle that makes it winning concept.
Yep.
What is the one in Wrapp?
It's a good question, actually. I think I would say that it boils down to me and my data and make that work for it. So it's not a single feature in the app yet. I don't think we have figured that one out. But it's actually to be sure to treat the user with the proper things and treats and everything, so you feel that, I'm seen for who I am, without leaving out my data to everyone.
So one could say that you put consumer, end user, in the middle.
End user is always
in the
first.
middle.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other questions?
From the audience, please, some questions. Yes, there's in the front, so Mike. Pauline at the microphone, the beautiful box.
Hello, Lisa Riekki from the National Opera and Ballet. What does this mean for the individual apps each company has?
I don't think it means anything short term. This is two separate worlds, and some arguments like Clas Ohlson and H&M and others in Sweden have argument, it's like a conflict, but it's not really. But we'll see over time that you can actually be part of both. If you are deep in love with your app, then you will continue to, because you can do a lot more and around that than we can do on your brand. But this is to strengthen and enriching the relationship between the user and the brands digitally.
But if we don't have any yet, does it make any sense to create one?
If we
don't have an app yet, so does it make any sense to create one?
No, definitely not. If you are a brand that doesn't have a CRM solution, whatever, then you don't. No, this is much easier and simpler and a lot cheaper.
There's a question, yeah.
Hi, Sohvi Salmelin from Kone, so obviously not so B2B for our market, but something out of personal interest. So is it registering all the purchases, even in companies which are not registered?
Yes.
So have you thought of utilizing this for personal following the economies and understanding where your money is going and this type of information? Because that would be really interesting for
A very good question. Actually, we try to stay out of that because we're not a financial advisor. We are not anyone who suggests how you should spend your money. This is just about enriching the relationship between the brands and you. And let the banks hold on to the financial aspect of this. So we're not trying to solve your or help you with your financial spending. It's to spend your existing money a little bit smarter.
I have one question to you. So Finland is really famous of having nearly everybody, even in this room, has a Plussa card from Kesko or a green card from S Group. So what's the role of these cards when your system is up and running?
That's very similar to Sweden, because in Sweden you have ICA, roughly 4.2 million people has it, and 3.2 million has a Coop card. It's the same, and both these companies are now going into our platform. So I think the same. Of course, they have great ecosystem, both Kesko and S Group, in one way, but they are very similar in many ways. So this is a way also to actually treat the ones that doesn't really want to be a part of that.
So you see them as partners?
I think that definitely as partners. And we actually see them coming in now in Sweden, both of them, really hard, or all three of them, because there's a third big one as well.
Fascinating. So there's one, yes. Our loyal customer is getting the card. The microphone.
Okay.
Yeah, one more comment on that also. Once again, if you're Kesko, or if you're S Group or ICA for that matter, you think mostly big data on the things you are consuming at that brand. And this is, once again, if you put the end user in the center, that all the spendings I'm doing is on many brands, and actually on in different countries sometimes as well. And I would like to be treated for who I am, regardless if it's Kesko, S Group, or whatever.
Cool. Yes, Thomas.
No, very tiny.
Something happened, okay.
Just wondering, you mentioned the retailers, there's absolutely a solid business case for the retailers. How about the banks? What's your take on the role of banks? You mentioned Nordex now in the Finnish market, and Aktia will soon be there.
Yep.
But, banks are intermediaries. Where's the business case? Where's the real benefit for the banks? We are not, banks are not retail stores.
No. The reason why we have actually been able to do this is two things. First, the change of that have happened already, where the interchange fees on credit cards have gone down. So actually banks and other card providers are losing quite a lot of money, or the revenue is going down from the average 1.7% to 0.3%. So there's an interest now for all reward programs to actually be more, find a new way. And when we put this up to the banks, we said, this is an add-on service to your existing users. It's cross-banks, cross-retail, cross-country, and you will also benefit with this extra service for them, but also you will have a rev share back. So the banks are actually taking some of our money. And I think that's a perfect mix, because they have provided infrastructure for retail to build something amazing now. And actually the Nordics now, well, sorry, too long answer perhaps. But I think actually the Nordics right now, and with the banks we have, and there are more coming in, we can now create something that is unheard of, that is truly performance-based, and the end users gain by it, and the retailers definitely gain by it. And in the end, we can take off this 40% off on the window for everyone and be more individualized. And that's the thing. And this will open up in a little more than a year from now with this so-called PSD2 regulation kicking in, where actually I'm in charge of my data. I can go to the bank or to you as retailers and say, if you store data about me, I would like to have it. And you are obliged to give it out. in May 2018, and that is a big hit. We're going to have a seminar in Sweden for all the retailers around that. Probably put it here as well.
Cool. I promised you something that you haven't heard before. Has anybody heard the story before, what we had here? One person. A bank. So it was absolutely unique stuff that you heard. So big applause to Aage on this one today.
Thank you.
Ja taas vaihdetaan kieltä. Eli siirrytään nyt tämmöiseen vähän erilaiseen formaattiin vielä, että meillä on 2 puhujaa paikalla. Jari, kerrotko se, ketkä tulee puhumaan?
No, ensin mä sanon vielä, että Aage varmaan on vielä jonkun aikaa tässä ennen taukoa mestoilla. Isn't it so, Aage? You don't disappear immediately.
No. I hope I get some breakfast now because I've missed
It's very good breakfast to go for.
Thank you.